So this is my week 5 diary entry for the module WT4028. In today's diary entry, I just kind of want to address some of the issues that arose from last week's entry. And some of this was where how my ideas developed and kind of my thought process behind these ideas. So this design over here is from my initial ideas. And it's something that I kind of just threw down, not really having anything in mind. I didn't really have any social issue or environmental issue in mind at this stage. And it was kind of more just a throwaway idea. I didn't really think, well, I wasn't really sure what I was going to come back to. And I had this compartment then in my mind as well, kind of didn't really think I was actually going to end up using it. And then when I actually started looking at farm safety, I looked at like the storage of chemicals and medicine on farms and how it's kind of gone a lot more stricter over the past few years, and how there's a kind of a lot more laws involved in how you store them and the different ways even you dispose of the materials after. So then I kind of started looking at maybe trying to develop this design, and I looked at the timber that I was going to try and use, and I feel like this timber I feel like one of the questions that kind of rose from last week was that it might be limiting me, but I don't really think so. I think it adds to the design, and it also then allows me to bring in some material that would be destined for the fire, and I can actually reuse it and bring more, new life into it. So I actually am very happy about how I'm able to incorporate this into my design. So then moving on, then most of the other design elements I've actually develop from my research of different topics. So the PPE wear clothes, the recording of medicine that I talked about last week, and then the disposal of all these things as well, which I'm going to talk about today. Um, so I had a conversation with my father, who's a farmer, and I wanted us to find out how he kind of disposes of hazardous material on the farm at the moment. So he said about 10 years ago he would have literally just thrown all the hazardous the waste material into a ditch. And I actually remember that from my own childhood, being able to see all the medicines and stuff just thrown away into the ditch. But he said over the past few years it's kind of got stricter. So, but he still all he does is he throws it into a bucket. Everything goes into a bucket, and then when he's going to the landfill, he just brings it with him and just throws it into the landfill. And that's kind of how the material, the waste material, is disposed on our farm. So now I want to look in: is there any correct way to actually dispose of this material? So I went at the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and I found that they brought in this farm hazardous waste bring centres in 2013. So they brought out. So this is kind of just an initiative with Chagas and all the farming, Chagas, who's over the farming side, to kind of dispose of waste correctly. So I just looked at some of their things. So they have each year they have one collection point over Ireland in different parts of Ireland, and then they charge different amounts for different sort of things. So we have pesticides and veterinary medicines here, and it's all charged at €2 kg, and then €4 kg for other things. So this is kind of just a safe way to get rid of your waste. And then I just looked at how much. So this is the veterinary medicines. There was 4,753 kgs dumped, and then sharps there was 311 kg of sharps dumped all over Ireland this year. So I found that from the EPA's report, this report up here, the Pilot Farm Hazardous Waste. So then I moved on and I just went on to farm safety. So just looking at how the importance of getting rid of your waste correctly, and some of the risks, sort of would be risks, long-term storage for potential farm accidents to occur if you don't dispose of it correctly, with like maybe pesticides and medicines, and then just sharks, just having them thrown around and maybe pricking people. So I kind of looked at my design. I was wondering if I could incorporate a sharps disposal holder into my design maybe, and then also an area for disposal of used gloves, masks, and then medicine bottles. Um, and then this week I moved on to drawing up my project on SolidWorks as well. So that means next week then in the labs I can kind of go in and just get my start working on a piece. So I actually haven't finished it off yet. So this is just a start of there's my top rail, and then there's the compartment that's going to be able to twist around. So I'm going to model it out fully on SolidWorks, and then hopefully just get the correct measurements for this secret compartment, or for this compartment, for it to work correctly.